My chest seized violently, my knees buckling as I hit the floor of my Rutland, Vermont estate. I couldn't breathe. A sudden, severe allergic reaction had swollen my throat shut in seconds. My vision tunneled as the front doors burst open. My smartwatch had automatically triggered a medical SOS, and two paramedics rushed into the foyer, boots pounding against the stone. One dropped to his knees, ripping open a kit to grab a life-saving injection. Before he could administer it, a pair of designer heels stepped directly into my fading line of sight. It was Denise, my wife. Stop. Her voice was eerily calm. The paramedic froze, looking up in confusion. Don't waste medicine on him, she told them. Just let it happen. He signed a strict DNR. Do not intervene.
So, his own wife just said that, let him die. Let that sink in.
Through the suffocating haze, my 47-year-old brain couldn't process the words. I'd built a commercial real estate empire worth hundreds of millions. I'd given Denise a life most people only see in movies. Cars, staff, a world with no ceiling on it. I convinced myself my oxygen-starved mind was hallucinating the cruelty in her voice. Then my adult son walked into view. He didn't rush to me. He didn't yell for them to save his father. He stood next to his mother, checking his watch with something close to boredom. The paramedic hesitated, thrown by Denise's claim about a legal order that didn't exist. I blacked out, certain this was a nightmare. I didn't know that seconds later, a senior medic would override her and administer the shot anyway, saving my life. When I woke in the hospital days later, Denise was gripping my hand, weeping while my son played the devastated air. I believed every second of it. I thought I was the luckiest husband alive, completely unaware that a newly installed security camera in our foyer had been live the entire time, recording every unforgivable word. Coming home to the estate felt like a rebirth. Denise held my hand the whole ride back, playing the traumatized, devoted wife flawlessly. My first act of recovery was gratitude. I bought her a diamond necklace and signed over the deed to a commercial plaza downtown, just so she'd always feel secure. I was living in a beautiful illusion. Denise ran the household with her usual effortless command, and I loved her for it. My son sat at the edge of my bed one evening with a serious expression, offering to handle the estate's power of attorney paperwork so I wouldn't have to stress during recovery. Touched by his sudden maturity, I signed without reading past the first page. I was handing them my kingdom, smiling while I did it. Looking back, there'd been a hint I waved off without thinking twice. Denise had been the one who insisted weeks earlier on the new medical alert bracelet and the smart home cameras, framing it as her being protective. At the time, it felt like love. It wasn't the only thing I'd have read differently, if I'd been looking. For 2 weeks, I showered them with love while Denise quietly moved my most liquid assets into private trusts under her name. The illusion shattered on a Tuesday evening. Denise and my son were out at a charity dinner. Alone in my study, I sat down to familiarize myself with the new security system, meaning only to check the perimeter cameras. A red alert flashed across the screen, emergency SOS protocol, video archive flagged. I clicked it. The video showed the foyer from 3 weeks earlier. I watched my own body collapse. I watched the paramedics burst in. And then, with clear audio, I heard it again. Don't waste medicine on him. Just let it happen. He signed a strict DNR. It wasn't a hallucination. But what came next was worse. After the senior medic overrode her and rushed my body out the door, the foyer went quiet. Denise and my son stood alone. He checked his watch and smirked. You almost panicked, Mom. Denise adjusted her robe, her voice flat. Why would I panic? I made his omelet myself that morning. The one only he eats, the one nobody else touches. Concentrated allergen, folded right in.
She poisoned him with her own hands. That is where it stops being an accident.
He was supposed to drop before the ambulance even got here. Doesn't matter. Once he signs the power of attorney during recovery, I liquidate the plaza and move the offshore accounts. Then we find him a quiet care facility and stop paying for it.
This wasn't one bad moment. This was the whole plan.
My blood went cold. The floor seemed to tilt. I sat there for a long moment doing nothing at all. Not thinking, not moving, just staring at a version of my own kitchen, my own wife, a breakfast she'd made with her own hands. 22 years of marriage collapsed into one clip. At some point, I realized my face was wet and I hadn't noticed I was crying. I let myself have that. Then I wiped my face, and something in my chest closed like a door. When you've built $100 million empire from nothing, you learn that grief and action can't share the same room for long. I gave the grief its 5 minutes. Then I got up. I locked the study doors and downloaded the unedited footage onto 3 separate encrypted drives. I bypassed my family attorneys and called Marcus, a fixer who handled hostile financial warfare for a living. Marcus, I said, my voice flat and strange to my own ears, I need you here in 10 minutes. Bring the fraud team. We're freezing every account, voiding a power of attorney and getting my wife out of my life, legally and permanently. Denise was still at her dinner, smiling for cameras, no idea what was coming. By the time her car pulled back through the gates, my legal team had been working for 3 hours, and it hadn't gone as cleanly as I'd hoped. The first bank Marcus called refused to freeze anything without a court order. A power of attorney, fraudulent or not, was still on file. It took a notarized emergency affidavit, the time-stamped video, and a judge Marcus rousted out of dinner to get a same-night emergency ruling voiding the POA. It was after 10 o'clock before the last account was actually locked and the paperwork was airtight. It cost me favors I'll be calling in for years. But by the time Denise walked back through those doors, it was done. She came in laughing, still dressed for the dinner, my son trailing behind her. She froze at the sight of the 2 detectives standing near the door. "Mark, darling, what is this?" I didn't yell. I turned the wall display toward her and pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. "I made his omelet myself. Concentrated allergen once he signs the power of attorney." The color drained out of her face. My son took a step back, his usual smirk gone. "You wanted the empire, Denise," I said. "You have nothing. The transfers are voided. The accounts are frozen. Everything in this house belongs to the corporation, including the dress you're wearing technically. You're trespassing." She went to her knees, begging, the reality landing that the life she'd built herself around was gone. My son said nothing at all, just stood there, and for the first time since he was a boy, I couldn't read what was on his face. The detectives cuffed them both: conspiracy, attempted murder, financial fraud. As they were let out, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired, and something under the tired that might have been peace. I locked the doors behind them, sat down in the quiet foyer where I'd nearly died, and let the house be silent for the first time in 22 years.
I hope you guys like this fictional story. I have created it. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for watching. This story is different because it could happen to anyone. The people closest to you are not always the ones protecting you. If this story moved you, drop a comment and let me know what part hit you the hardest. And if you want more these kind of stories, stories like this, hit subscribe, hit like. I'll see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day.